Welcome back to another episode on the J.A.T side. I'm your host, Jalen Austin Taylor, and today I'm joined by a first-time guest, Ava St. Germain, for a very special episode. She's the first person from my new school, George Walton, to come on the podcast, and she is the first female we've had on the podcast this year. So thank you, Ava, for joining me. If you'd like to say anything before we start, you can say it. If not, we can just hop straight into it.
Go for it.
All right. So the first question I have for you today, which is kind of going to be the main focus for today's episode, is what inspired you to create the huge bone that you made for the Nicholson Center?
To start, when I first started, it was for my studio art class. The art teacher kind of just came in and was like, "Hey, you're doing this," and I was like, "Awesome." But then after that semester ended, I continued to do it because it kind of sparked my love for art and made me fall in love with that process. And so I kept doing it even after that semester art class had ended.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. I did not know that was like something that you were like kind of forced into in the beginning, but it seems like it's came along really well. So with that being said, how long has it taken you to get where you are currently, with this whole process? And like, how close do you think you are to like full completion of it?
October of last year. So it's taken a really long time. It's been a really tedious process just to make sure that everything is sanded down smoothly and is how it should be. And I have a completion date of May 8th. So I only have about a week left to make sure everything's done and all the final touches are put on.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. I saw you working on it the other day, and I really admire you because I've seen it since I first recognized it probably like earlier this year, but I know it takes a lot of dedication to finish like a long project. So I definitely commend you for that. And I'm sure you probably did, but did you have any help in the process of making the bone? And if so, how did they help you?
I had tons of help along the way, a lot from teachers, but then two people, Aaron and Haley, they're both in my grade. Aaron helped me a lot with the inside process because what really can't be seen is that the whole inside of the bone started off as just a flat to the ground piece of foam. And so it's been made 3D. And so she helped with a lot of making it 3D and adding all the foam and the support beams. And then Haley came in this semester and helped a lot with putting on the drying compound, which is the white stuff that's covering the bone.
Nice. So shout out Haley and Aaron for helping with the bone. So are there any like future art projects that you would like to do for George One or just for yourself? Or are you currently working on any other ones?
Due to how long the bone's taking, I didn't get to add anything else into my independent study. I wanted to do like a 3D sculpture of Wall-E at some point, so I'm hoping when I get to college, I'll be able to continue doing that since I'm a senior. I don't have time to like add anything else to George Walton, but I'm hoping I get to do more 3D stuff when I get to college.
Yeah, that sounds pretty nice. Yeah, hopefully you do get to build that 3D sculpture of Wall-E because I would definitely want to see that. Obviously, you're very talented, and these things can't be done without help. But you are very talented. So, kind of going off track from art a little bit, do you have any other passions like outside of art?
Yeah, I do. I do a lot of photography. I guess it's kind of its own little art form, but I do a lot of photography. I just took Haley's senior photos, and I've done friends' prom photos and just stuff on my own time. I picked that up probably at the start of ninth grade, and I've just always had a huge passion for it.
That's really, really cool to me because my mom, she's actually into photography. She just started getting into it about 2 years ago, when she got her first camera, but now she's like really, really into it. She shoots me and my sisters like games and just like to use her camera to take pictures of, different trips and stuff that we go on. So yeah, you and my mom share that passion. So for the final question of today's episode, if there was one piece of advice that you would give to other artists or creators, what would it be?
Probably to just take your time and don't let the setbacks get to you. Because one thing I learned from working on this project is that it's all about problem solving. So there's gonna be problems, like always. There's no way to have a perfect piece of art, and it's just about learning how to problem solve and to take a breath and just backtrack and not to stress about if it's not perfect, because like everybody's art is gonna be different.
Yeah, I think that's a great piece of advice. Honestly, not just for art, but just for life. Anything that you're working on, in general, like when you put your mind to something, you can really do anything. But it's gonna take some things take more time than others, depending on how hard of a thing that you're trying to accomplish. But ultimately, if you stick with it, I think we can accomplish great things. So Ava, thank you for joining me today on the J.A.T side. Thank you for taking the time out of your afternoon to come on the podcast and share a little bit about yourself and about what you're working on. If you have any closing thoughts besides what you just said, you can share.
I don't, but thank you so much for having me. It's been a cool experience because I've never really talked about it other than it being on like the In Focus or on the Instagram. I actually haven't really, like, I feel like a lot of people probably don't know it's down there until they see it and they're like, oh, like that's huge.
Well, I think it's really cool what you're doing, and like I said, I'm really glad that I was able to have you on. So yeah, definitely glad to give you the platform because what you're doing is very cool, and you're doing it for the school as well, which makes it even more sweeter. So, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and end today's episode. Thank you guys for listening. If you made it to the end, please let me know. Until next time, I'm your host, Jalen Austin Taylor, and I'm out.